Mo na whatalo whaatu pa ia wa mamalu o Samoa o whafonga mai I le ne whasara launga e si I le viinga le whaftai le tato tapa au le langi e tusa ai mo le ne awa noa matungo fia wa mau ai e talatala noa ma se tasi foi uso lea I tono le mai o le piinga o le uso lea suafa ia Adam Hammond Fanene ia e pena masani ai le anganu o tato atunu o Samoa mua lava o na whātulou I pa ia na mamalo o Samoa a mata mai sawa se ia pa ia le whawhau sawarii pa ia lawa lea whasingo ia inga malato tama foi malato a inga leo songa tu muma pule I tuau ma ala taua a inga I le taima le vao fono tu whapea foi le mamalu I le whale anga fulu ia sa ole ma le nau niu sai lua sua ma le vai whanua whafou ma I tūlangi sana ne foi pa ia le manua tele pa ia lawa lea whasingo le laau na amutasi ali I whātui ma to'o le whaleula o pa ia Samoa o lea le o iai se whamatalanga a wao pa ia Samoa le popo a o se ala o lea nu watu ia pa ia Samoa I malo o tu mumpule a wao la tofu fatua inga tau si lea tulau a o le ne ava noa o mato maua ele anganga fia o au lea tato whatasitasi ai ma se tasi foi uso o mona tau atu o lea wa mata luna taalo whatau sala a wa foi si viinga o lea tunuu ai mai se foi le sisi lunga o le tau o tatu tangasa titono o le lalulangi a toa o iima o whaftai atu I le sunga ya Adam Hammond Fanene. Thank you, Adam. Thank you for this wonderful day. We're so wonderful. We're so grateful for you and for the opportunity to talk to you today. As always, we address our people in our native tongue, in the respect language, and then we give it over to you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and just everything that's led up to where we are at this point in your life. On Atlee.
Thank you for inviting me on the show.
Sorry, did we cut out there for a little bit? I was trying to mute the notifications. Anyway, so you're wrestling out of Alaska, or you're training to start wrestling out of Alaska right now, right?
Yes, I'm currently training. Next month, I'll be wrestling my first match.
Next month, you'll be wrestling your first match. So, what is the name of the company that you're wrestling with, and what was it that inspired you to want to become a wrestler?
So the company I'll be wrestling with next month is Wrestle Pro Alaska.
Wrestle Pro Alaska.
And I've always been I've always loved wrestling. When I was a kid, I always heard stories about my grandma's brothers wrestling. I always loved watching wrestling. When I was like 5, I wanted to be like Yokozuna, like Rodney Anua'i. He was like one of my favorite wrestlers when I was a little kid, as he was big, and I was kind of small back then. So I was like, I'm gonna be big just like him when I grow up. I'm gonna be a professional wrestler.
So, for those of the listeners who are tuning in for the first time, can you elaborate a little bit more on your connection with the Fanene family, especially those who are wrestlers in your family?
So four of my grandma's brothers and one of her cousins wrestled. Two of my grandma's brothers and one of her cousins wrestled for South Pack Wrestling.
Yeah.
Kavika Fanene, Sailila Fanene, and Diamond Fanene. They all wrestled for South Pack Wrestling. And then two of my grandma's other brothers wrestled in the South, in Louisiana. And Tai Fanene and Mani Fanene.
Malo. That's a big name right there in Samoa too, Mani. That has a lot to do with the oral history of Viruba'a. Yeah, That's a whole nother story though for another time. But yeah, that's definitely one of those connection names. But speaking of connections with names, like Fanene is also known as Peter Maivia's family name. I know that he did use the surname of Anderson for a while, but he's always identified as a member of the Fanene family. So is there a connection there between you and him?
Yes, there is a connection there. Also his wife Ophelia, she's like she's also there's also a connection with her.
Oh wow. So you got connections on both sides then?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I remember you had some challenges though you were talking to me about previously about what made it difficult for you to get into the wrestling business. Did you want to elaborate on any of that?
Yeah, like I was born with club feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so growing up I wasn't really allowed to be in sports, anything athletic.
Anything physical?
So I always thought that I couldn't do it.
Mm.
And then one time I was talking to Tora, Peter Maivia's son.
Yeah.
I was talking to him and I was like, I want to be a wrestler, you know. I was like, I saw this show come through, and the show that I saw was 49th State Wrestling.
Mm.
It's run by one of the female wrestlers here in Alaska that she actually just debuted on AEW Dark last month.
Oh, nice.
And so I saw them at a bar show, and then one of the people that was a part of the show happened to be the owner of the 907 Pro Wrestling Academy. And his name is JT West. He used to be a wrestler. I mean, yeah, he used to wrestle. And I asked him for his card. He gave me his card. I talked to Tua. I was like, you know this school? And then he saw that they were affiliated with the guy who owns Wrestle Pro Alaska, with the company that I'm wrestling with next month, and his name is Kevin Matthews. And so Tua was like, I recognize that name. Yeah, you it's legit. You should go check it out. You never know what could happen. You might like it. And so I went and checked. I walked in. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I wasn't gonna make it. I'm not gonna lie. I walked in the first tryout. I was like, oh no. I don't know if I can do this. But I just kept going. You know, there was a lot of people telling me like, you can't do it. You can't do it. So I kept thinking I can't do it.
Right.
But the guy who was running the school was like, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. And then, so you know, I started to believe him after I kept hearing him say, you can do it. You can, you know. And so he was always like, yeah, just keep sticking with it. That's what you want to do in your life. Keep sticking with it. And so I ended up not giving up. And then now I'm gonna be wrestling my first show next month.
Congratulations,
so I'm excited about it, but at the same time I'm like nervous about it too. Like,
right. So there's always that anticipation before that first tryout, and especially like what training is like, because you know once you go through the initial tryout, then that's supposed to be like, I mean, it's basically is your initiation into this whole other world and this whole other system of training. So what do you think it was like before getting into the training, and then after? Like what did you anticipate was going to be in training, and then when you got there, what do you think were the most difficult things?
I thought I was gonna just walk in there and, you know, just throw a clothesline. Really, I thought that's what I was gonna do.
Right.
You know, I thought I was gonna throw a couple clotheslines, and I had no idea what it's really like.
So what kind of training did they put you through when you got there? Because I've heard it's different depending on the region.
Yeah, so you like, I got there, you know, they showed me their drills, you know, I went through their drills, their rolls and bumps, and they you know, they
it's a psych out process. Like that first, when you first got to take a bump, because they teach you how to. They teach you how to fall, but when you're actually standing there and then trying to make yourself fall, there's a definite psych out process that goes through there.
I walked up in there, they're like, and so he warned me too. He's like, nothing that you gonna do in here is gonna feel natural.
Right.
It's not gonna feel like you're supposed to do this.
Right.
I'm just gonna warn you now. It's gonna feel like that. So I was like, I watched them do it, and I was like, I can do that. And when I got to do it, I was like, I can't do it. I can't.
Right. It really don't feel natural. Yeah, you're right.
It really didn't feel natural. Like that whole first month, I thought I was like, what did I get myself into?
Mm-hmm.
What did I get myself into? This is not what I thought it was gonna be.
I felt the same way too when I first started training, and like I kept on thinking, there's so many of my family that already went through this. It's like they all had to take their bumps, and then now, like, they're the legends. They're the generations that went before us. So is that an inspiration for you too?
Yeah, it definitely was.
That's great, man. So you got a good relationship though in Toa.
Yeah, I never actually met him in real life.
Okay.
I connected with him on Facebook maybe like 2016.
Okay.
And then I've been talking to him, but then the more I started getting back interested in wrestling,
right?
Like the conversation with him helped me so much mentally, because I already told myself I couldn't do it. So I already thought that I already went with that mindset that I can't do this. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you can do it. It's in your blood. You can do it. And so between Toa and JT West and all the people at the 907 Pro Wrestling Academy and my wife, the people that kept breathing positivity in my mind, because I kept listening to all the people who kept telling me I can't do it. I can't do stuff like this. Even my doctor was at first like, no, I don't think you're gonna be able to do that. And now I'm doing it. So
yeah, man, congratulations. That's an accomplishment.
The more I kept hearing people tell me that I can't do it, that started fueling me like, oh, okay, I can't? Okay, we'll see.
So you're married?
Yes.
How long have you been married, Us?
I've been married since 2007.
That's awesome. So 13 years?
Yes.
13 years. How many kids?
6 children.
6 children. Man,
5,
congratulations.
5 boys. I got 5 boys and 1 girl.
And the girl's the youngest, right?
Yes, the girl's the youngest.
How old's the girl now?
She'll be 2 this year. In December.
Same age as my son. That's awesome. Yeah. We Samoans are really, really big on family. And I know, that's, with all the mentally draining things that we go through with professional wrestling, and that's just aside from the physically draining ones, family support is really, really big. And having a wife and, a wife with 6 kids is not an easy task for, to go off and be doing wrestling, or even just to go to work. And then, the wife's stuck at home with the kids. We have 3. So it's a big job for her just having 3. So I can't imagine with 6. So that's a really great support system you got there, man.
The oldest ones helps out with the youngest ones.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier when they get older. I still got young ones, so they're all of mine are under 5 years old. So it's a different animal right now for them.
Yeah.
But that's really great. How do your kids feel about you wrestling?
They're excited. They train with me on Fridays.
Oh, they train with you?
They all want to be wrestlers when they grow up.
Oh, that is awesome, man.
My eldest, he's going to be 12 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't wait. He can't wait to start, when he gets to start really training. Did
you have any aspirations when you got into the business? What kind of wrestler you wanted to be? What kind of moves you wanted to do? What were you looking forward to? I know it's daunting to look at the task of becoming a professional wrestler, but what's the end goal? What did you see when you became that person, or when you took that journey, what did you see at the end that made you motivated to become that person at the end of training?
I was so confused when I first started. Like I was trying to be. When I first started, I was still trying to figure out in my mental mindset,
Right.
trying to put my mind into being what I wanted it. Like I I was when I started training, I had bad health. I was my diabetes was getting bad. I had high blood pressure. My gout was bad. And then when it seemed like when I started training it it saved me from a whole bunch of stuff. My like I now I I regulate my sugar without taking the medicine now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have high blood pressure. My my gout isn't as bad. And I was also, I was starting to, uh I was starting to have like a feeling like I'm not really doing anything with my life. Just
Yeah.
going to work, coming back, just the same routine. And
Right.
then the more closer I got with the people that I'm training with and the people that do shows out here, like they already been doing shows out here, and my and Jay and my coach and his assistant coach YT Jones, like when the more I got closer with them, the more I started getting more positive in my personal life. The more I started having more like, okay, now there's more motivation. Like if I can do this, I can fix something else. I can fix this. I can fix that. So like the wrestling kind of saved me a little in my mental state, in my health.
That is awesome, man. That is really awesome. So you think it was more of the support system that they had for you, not just being there for you as a wrestler and being there for you as teammates, but like you said, like they were always there to encourage you when things got tough, and that made it easier to overcome the other things that were going on in your life.
Yes, it did, because I a lot of things happened. Like my mom passed away.
Uh-huh.
A lot of things happened in my life. A lot of personal things happened in my life that kind of made me,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like made my mental go down. My mental, uh,
Yeah,
my
like your mood, yeah,
like
your
I try
countenance.
to, yeah, I try to keep our spiritual. Samoans are very spiritual. They're spiritual
Right.
people. Like, and I try to keep that, but it wasn't enough for me. It wasn't it wasn't enough for my mind to be like to to heal my mind from all the things that was happening at the
Right.
same time. And so I just feel like wrestling saved me from a lot of stuff. And now I'm like it's still like a, a shock in my mind that, oh, I'm wrestling my first show. Like I like it still has that wow I can't lay in my mind. I'm like, wow, I'm wrestling my first show. I'm gonna be wrestling.
Yeah, man, that's like anxiety wrapped up in anticipation and just
Because
what's going to happen next, all of that.
I honestly thought I honestly thought I wasn't gonna make it this long. I thought I wasn't gonna make it this long. I was shocked that I made it this long. That I made it this far.
It's one of those things, like while you're enduring it, you pass that limit that you thought you couldn't pass it, and you look back, then you realize, man, I came this far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
felt the same way when I did my training. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
and on every accomplishment, that's what motivated me to, like, now I'm at the gym. I haven't been in the gym forever, and like in years and years and years, and now I've been going to the gym like nonstop because of wrestling. And I never felt better in my life. I never felt better. I lost 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I was 400 pounds when
Okay.
I started, and I lost 100 pounds because of this. and I feel healthier. I'm like, I'm not that. I used to be that parent to be sitting at the when the kids go to the park. You're just sitting there watching. But now I'm the parent that goes with the kids to the park and plays with the kids at the park.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting down watching anymore.
Yeah, I think I need to get to that point. I'm still watching. Yeah, but I got no excuses. Well, okay, one question that's coming to mind to me right now as we're talking, because like wrestling has done so much for you, it seems. And beyond just wrestling, I think your passion for wrestling, because like what I'm seeing from you is like really you're a self-made, like self-help guru right now. Like everything that you've been through, you've really found the motivation within yourself. People did help you, but you were the only one who did it. You know what I mean? You pushed yourself through with their help. So with all of that invested in wrestling, what do you feel about the people who say it's fake and, dismiss it because they don't understand it the way that we do?
Well, I mean, all I have to say to them is come try out. Come try out and come see for yourself. Because, I mean, they can say all they want from the outside, but they've never been inside. Let them come inside and see what it's like for themselves, and then ask themselves if it's fake. Because I'm pretty sure there's any trainer would like to show them how wrong they are.
That is probably the best answer I've ever heard. Thank you, Uso. I actually met you because I started a group called #Samoa or #Samoan Wrestler. The podcast that we do, for those who are watching right now that haven't heard of us before, this is going to be our first Zoom recorded video podcast, or at least a episode that's on the Zoom. So this is the first time we're incorporating video into the format. But what this movement is that we're trying to accomplish with not just #Samoan Wrestler, but #Samoa, is to help us to record our people's stories. #Samoa is more of a generalized, it's a more of a generalized form where we talk about all things that affect Samoans, but #Samoan Wrestler is more focused on the sport of professional wrestling and how it's affected our people, and especially our people of Samoan descent who have lived through it and telling their stories, because our stories are not recorded by anyone else. There's nobody else out there trying to record our people's stories for us. So we got to man up and do it ourselves. So that's what this movement is about. But talking about all of that, and, just this is really like a next step in what we're trying to do here, is having you on the video and everything. But like, what does it make you feel like, being a Samoan, having that pride, family, culture, our relationship with God and all of those things? Like, if you could give me an answer to all those people who wonder, like, what does it mean to be a Samoan? All those people who aren't Samoan, they ask me that question all the time, but I want to get your take on it. How does it feel to be a Samoan? What makes you proud of it?
What makes me proud of it is that I come from a family that they taught me how to respect, how to have love for my family. Always, people that are there's always in a Samoan family. There's always somebody there for you. Like, you never run out of people that's not going to be there for you at your hardest times, and you can be there for them at their hardest times. That bond, that type bond. Even the ones you don't get along with, they're there for you when you need them. Like, that's how a Samoan family is. That's how we were taught by our parents, and then their parents, and they always put their spirituality first before anything else.
We got a little bit into oral history when we were talking last time, and you were telling me some stories that I found really, really interesting. But I just wanted to know, because I know those stories are sensitive, so we're not going to get into them on this format. But just our history is so important to us because it's such an integral part of our identity. how important is it to you having that history, and how important is it to you, now that we're telling our own narrative, being part of, I know Samoan dynasty kind of is an Anawa'i thing, but when you think about it, like, there's so much more to the Samoan destiny because all of us are included in some part.
Yeah, what was the question again? Sorry.
It's like, there's oral history that we have from Samoa, but like, we've started kind of our own oral history thing right here with our storytelling involving us here in the Samoan dynasty of today. So like, what does that mean to you, being part of the Samoan dynasty and our oral history and how it relates to the stories that we're telling today?
When I was a kid,
yeah,
I was like a sponge. Like I remember my grandmother's sister telling my cousins the stories about, the stories about our family history, our genealogy and stuff like that, like on Sundays at Kongai. Like, that's I just remember I was like 5 years old, but I remember like she told me yesterday. Like, I didn't realize how important those things were, but I'm so happy that I was there to hear her say those things, because it stuck with me. It never left. It never let it out. I just kept it in my mind, and now I can share them with my kids about stories about, they weren't written down. These stories aren't written down. These stories are like, they've been passed down, like orally. If they've never been written down, like, it's just been passed down orally from generation to generation to generation, and now I can tell my kids those stories, and I feel very fortunate to know where I came from, because that's important to me, to know where I came from, who I came from, and that's very important, and I'm happy that my kids can learn who they came from, and even though we're so far away from back home, we know who we are. Our roots are never cut, like.
Yeah. Our connections never stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I had another interview last week, Saturday, with an old Hawaiian kumu. He's a judge at the Mary Monarch, and he's a very revered hula master. And he was teaching us the importance of the word ike and what it means in Hawaiian. And we have a similar word in Samoan, but it's got a different context in Samoa. But I feel like it kind of transcends that whole island gap. And it's amazing because he was trying to explain to us what the meaning of aloha is, aloha, alofa, and how we take care of each other. And the basic meaning that he said about this is maintaining the connections. So maintaining the connection between us. And it's really interesting that you bring up oral traditions and how they weren't written down, because like you said, you had those interactions with your grandmother and her siblings, and when you had those interactions, the ike was there, that connection, that sensitivity was there. So the things that they taught you, even if you're just hearing it vicariously, they stick with you, and they stick with you to this day. And it's amazing how much emphasis our ancestors put on these oral traditions, because they knew how effective they were, because of the ike and because of everything that everything in the past and the relationships between the grandparents and the children. And in fact, Brother Two down here, who's joining us today, he was talking to us about the same kind of connections that go on in Fiji. Brother Two is from Fiji, and a lot about how back in the day in our culture, the grandparents would usually take up the kids, just like how you were telling me about you and your grandmother, and then the parents would go to work while the kids were raised pretty much by the grandparents. So it had that sponge effect where, like, they passed down the oral history, they passed down, all the different ike about siva and ike about doing the umu and all the things that we needed to know. So we were getting schooled by our grandparents, but our parents still had time to, do their lives and not have to be stressed out about coming home and taking care of us. So it really makes me want to emulate that today in our life. But I'm just really grateful for you and your stories, because, the ike that you share with me, it sticks with me. And that's why, like, I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed to have you guys in my life and be able to, like, discuss these things that I find valuable. I find a lot of your story valuable for me and the things that I'm going to be doing. But I wanted to open up the floor to Brother Two over here to see if he had anything that he wanted to add to us right now. He's got some really great knowledge about wrestling, and he's also got some really great. He's got a good mind for coming up with questions. Two, are you there? I think Two might have. Oh, there he is. Yeah, what's up, bro?
Like 5 minutes, I'll be right with you guys.
Okay, bro, no problem.
Sorry about that.
No problem. You're good, bro. So, what's going on today in Alaska, bro?
It's cold. I mean, actually, it's pretty warm. It was pretty warm today compared to other days.
Yeah.
But where I live is still kind of shut down, so the show that I'm wrestling at is an hour away.
Oh, okay. It's an hour away.
Yeah.
Do you guys wrestle at the same place you guys train at?
I mean, 3 hours away. My bad.
It's 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big difference. But training's 3 hours away as well, or are you going to a venue?
Training is down the street from me.
Oh, nice. That's convenient. And then I heard Aleki is going to be going up there for the show. Is that true?
Yeah, Aleki's gonna be wrestling for WrestlePro.
Yeah. So if those of you who don't know who Aleki is, yeah. So Aleki is the son of Siva Afi, and he's also a promoter down here in Hawaii. He's a Pineapple King, runs the Oos Wrestling out of Hawaii. And if you're looking for a wrestling show for your birthday party, they're currently offering that out of their website, and you'll be able to get your own private show over there with your family and take your birthday and have it up there with Aleki and his crew, Radiant Rain and all of them. And a special shout out to Aleki. Congratulations on the birth of your son. Congratulations to Aleki and Bonnie on the birth of Xander. And we wish you guys the best. But yeah, Aleki will be up there, and you can see Brother Adam over here. You wrestle. Is your wrestling name Fanene, or do you have a different wrestling?
My wrestling name is Tama Fanene.
Tama Fanene. There you go. We got another Fanene and another Tama in the wrestling business today. Yeah. Two, did you have anything for us? Or are you still?
Yeah, man. No, I'm loving this conversation. Like how Adam has been able to talk about his experiences, and it's really great because basically not a lot of people see wrestling as like a career move right there. But to have someone not only like see it as a career, but from a background like Adam just shared, that's really inspirational stuff. But Adam, I'm just gonna ask this question: how far do you think you're gonna be able to go?
I think as far as I believe I'm gonna go. I think if I believe it, I have to believe it first before I can take it there.
All right, man. And I, like you said, your inspiration was Yokozuna. The thing about Yokozuna was he brought in the light heavyweight, if you get my drift. A big guy who shouldn't be able to move like he moved. That was him, that was Rikishi, and that was Umaga. Brought in that legacy that everyone now looks to when the word Samoan is uttered in the ring. So with that in mind, will we be looking forward to those kind of moves as well?
That's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to be just like them. I'm not trying to be exactly like them, but I'm trying to be. Those are my inspirations. Those people, those exact people, Umaga, Rikishi, Yokozuna. Those are the people I watch. I watch daily. Man. Like I watch all their old matches daily. Like because those are the people I want to be like. Like I'm big too. I'm not a small person. So those are who I want to move like.
Yeah, man. I love it because it just shows them like Islander style. We eat, but we know how to move as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
food is my favorite.
Yeah. So will you be bringing your culture? Like you got the name down, but what other aspects of your culture are you taking into the ring with you? Like other than the name, will yours like entrance music, or will you have
Yeah,
certain names for your moves?
I'm still working on entrance music, but yes, I will be using a cultural uh
Say,
ba- bass
like,
for my music.
oh, what about
Uh,
yeah,
Ring
go ahead.
attire.
ring attire.
Yeah,
I I I'll be having. Well, for my first match, I might not be wearing Samoan uh ring attire, but I mean ring gear. But when the more I get into this, the more I'll be shaping it the way molding it to me
that's good, bro. No
more and
pressure
more.
there. No pressure, no pressure. But like, it's just it's just something that I like. That we'd like to see more and more as you like for us Fijians with Jimmy Snuka there,
Yes.
and Jimmy, like as he went up the ladder, he incorporated more and more of the Fijian cultural artifacts, from the clothing to the salu and even shouting in Fijian, words that they would have bleeped if they knew what it actually meant.
Well, I mean, I always like Fijian history and art because I know Samoa and Tonga both have close a close bond history with Fiji.
Yeah,
Like for when it comes to the Songa Miki, the stories about where it came from and other
yes.
stuff, other cultural things that are Samoa. A lot. Um, I like I like the connection there.
Yeah, there's a debate going on right now on Facebook about the whole whether or not the tatau comes from Fiji or Fitiuta and Manua. But that's just one of the connections, because you have the connection between Sina and the tuna, because the tuna was supposed to be the tuifiti that came in the form of a eel and was pursuing Sina all over Samoa. And then you have the story of Vaya that turned into a mountain, and the crew that had come over to challenge Vaya was also from Fiji, according to oral history. And from what I've heard, I've been trying to find somebody to collaborate this, but I heard that once Vaya's brother had avenged the death of Vaya's son, they actually settled in Fiji and created a Samoan village. He and Apaula, the wife of his brother, together populated a Samoan village in Fiji. But I've yet to find something that collaborates that story. But it's a pretty good story. So there's a lot of different connections in there. Yeah.
I think they might be referring to Rotuma.
Rotuma.
Oh,
that'd be
I know
interesting.
that Rotuma. I think they have some stories that they came from Tonga and Samoa.
Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, but
yes.
pardon me, sorry.
No worries.
The name Fanene itself, it's funny because I know a friend of mine who has Samoan leanings, but he's from Fiji. The ancestors Samoans who settled in the Eastern Islands and are very well known for carving and fearsome in battle. But they came in the tail end of the 1800s as missionaries and are now well known for carvings only. So it's interesting to see how that's going to. I've not done enough research into their families, but I'll keep you guys posted on it.
Okay. From what I know about that family, I believe that they originate out of Falealidi in Upolu. One of the, is that what you've heard too?
Yeah.
Yeah. because my family out of that village is Fuimono, because I am a great grandson of the brother of Asuemu Urufale Fuimono, and that Fuimono title also comes from Falealili. So I've done some research, and then Aumua, the one that wrote that book Simano Ali'i, she's also, I believe, the story about Simano Ali'i is that he was the child was playing around during the fono, and then they were trying to get him to show. They called the child a manu. They and he's like Osimanu Ali'i. Like eventually this child is going to grow up and serve the Ali'i. So that's where the Simanu Ali'i, and then that was the old lady Aumua's last name. After that, that's her family name. But I believe that the chief that's mentioned in that story was Fanene. So they have ties also to Fanene. Yeah, that was really interesting.
In Saleaumua side.
Right.
In Alipaka.
That's interesting. But it goes that the reach of the Falealili village. In fact, I heard a story also that the original Fa'usi was created when Salamasina had her child, and the orators from Falealili needed an ali'i to serve, so they went to the Fafifianga for the birth of the child. They took the child and they brought it over to Falealili to raise as their ali'i. So when they, when they went over to the Fafifianga, they took the Fa'usi with them and gave it as their offering. And then they took the son without anybody knowing. And then they raised him in Falealili to become their ali'i. I'm not sure what his ali'i title was when he became that, but that was a story that I had heard. Really interesting. But there's all kinds of different connections there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are at. Sorry, I'm just checking the side panels right here real quick, and then I'll back to it. Yeah, okay, very good. I have one big burning question that's been inside of me. See, I grew up in the 80s, and people it's debatable which was the hottest period in professional wrestling history, because during the 80s, kayfabe was still in effect. You had larger-than-life characters, but it wasn't until Stone Cold Steve Austin came into the picture that I believe that they said that they were able to, what do they call that too? What were they able to do? They became tradable, right? They became a tradable entity on the what do they call that place? The stock market. So they were able to open up their business to a lot bigger, brother. Tu, did you have anything to add?
No, yeah, you're right. That's correct, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Stone Cold Steve Austin brought in that era. So it's arguable, like, which was the more successful period, but the most memorable one to me was the 80s. But now you have kind of a shift today in the value system of what professional wrestling is about. Because you have some performers out there who the old generation doesn't approve of. You know, I think some guys like Orange Cassidy, and I'm not saying that I personally enjoy some of these guys' matches, but when you hear people like Jim Cornette and other people on the internet who have their own, forum for speaking, they kind of speak out of a certain kind of wrestling that's either silly or it's all about who's friends with who, and that's who gets, spots. And also talking about that whole thing where after every single match there's a run-in, and there's, every match is kind of got the same format, and then like all of those things seem to be bad for business. So what do you think about what wrestling was and what it's evolving into today?
I think with every generation, with anything, it's always going to be different from the last generation. And for it to be to keep the interest of the next generation, they always gotta change. We always gotta change. We always gotta be able to. We gotta be like a chameleon, kind of. Like we have to be to change to the time. So like, back then in the 80s, wrestling. Those are like the pioneers,
Yeah, yeah.
Those are like, I mean, what, 70s too, yeah. They were like, they were starting stuff that nobody was doing, you know.
Hmm.
And then the next generation came and they're like, oh man, we've been seeing the same thing, you know. And so then wrestling changed, and then it wasn't the same beast anymore. But I think with every generation, they don't like seeing the same thing over and over again. So they just it has to always evolve. Evolve. That's the word I was looking for. It always gotta evolve. You know, we always gotta evolve to what our our fans want, because that's how we keep, you know, we keep the interest going. We always gotta
It's
be new and exciting.
it's really interesting because the debate, I guess, and it's not really a debate because I don't think anybody's talking about it. But the the train of thought is that we had a system that was good for business. You know how Jim Cornette will talk about like how you build up a monster heel and then you send the babyface and you get about 6 months out of building up a match, and then they finally have their match and then they have one rematch, and then after that you got to start from scratch again. So the business side of things was that you didn't give away main events on on free TV and stuff like that. Doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense to have Austin and Lesnar on free TV. So that's kind of, I mean, like, obviously evolution is unavoidable, but at the same time, like, do we sacrifice business sense for fan service, that kind of thing? Like, sometimes it feels like we're giving a little bit, like, kayfabe seems to be dying, and sometimes we seem to like give too much to the fans at a sacrifice out of what might be more beneficial on a long-term business venture.
Um,
Yeah.
for me, I
Yeah, it's a really, like, it's a crazy train of thought if you get on it. But this is the kind of thing, like, I think about is like, which road do I go down? Like, do I go down like, oh, I wanted to do this since I was a kid? Do I want to go out and do what I want to do? But at the same time, it's like, I got a family to feed, I got kids to support, and I got a business that I want to keep legit. You know, I want people to respect my promotion and all of these
exactly.
things. Right. So I want to go out and do all, be
Well, for
silly
me,
wrestling. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you go. Sorry, bro.
for me, everything that we do, we always gotta find a middle ground for it,
Yeah,
because I mean, we can't be like, if we're too much on one side, the other side's gonna suffer, you know.
it's
So
unbalanced.
yeah, so we always gotta keep, like, we just gotta find the middle, and that's where we try to, you know, try to stay at. I think we can't be too much on both. Moderation, you know, moderation.
There you go. Wrestling in moderation. That's a really great answer, bro. That's a really great answer. Oh man, that's so cool. All right, so winding down. This is usually the part of the interview where we give you a chance to shout out family, shout out, your wrestling family, anything that you want to say. This is your opportunity, and especially like with our recordings being so oriented towards you leaving. This is like a time capsule, right? Like, you got the opportunity to say something now that maybe 10, 20 years from now, when your kids are grown, like, they're going to look back and say, okay, what was my dad like in that time? And then you got this to show them. So this is your opportunity to say something, give a little something to all those people you love, and just, share your alofa and your mana'o right now for all of your family.
Um, I'm usually a shy person, so I don't really talk that much.
No worries,
But
bro.
but I just want to thank everybody that helped me get this far, you know, because I didn't think I was gonna make it this far. Like, you know, my family, my kids are always my number one fans. So they, you know, I come home and it's like, they're like, oh my, you know, they tell all their friends that their dad's a wrestler. Haven't even wrestled my first match yet, but they, you know, so they, you know, they're my number one fans. My kids, my wife. she's always, the rock for me. Like she's the one who keeps me, she keeps me going because she's not gonna accept failure. She's not gonna accept failure. And I want to thank especially the 907 Pro Wrestling Academy and all the people I train with, and my coach and the assistant coach, JT Wesson and YT Jones. And that I'm so happy for the opportunity to be able to have a chance to go and perform in front of people and entertain people, because I love to be, I come from a family of entertainers and I love to entertain people, and I'm just grateful for this opportunity. I'm happy that I'm happy that I got lucky and had have this such a close knit family. The people from my blood relatives to the people that I've met through wrestling. They're my new family, and yeah, and I'm thankful for you for this opportunity you brought me on the show. This is fun. This is fun. I was kind of nervous at first, but this is fun. This is really fun.
Thank you. So, Untitled Chapter. Yeah, to sign for him on an interview. Yeah, we're so grateful and happy for this opportunity. Brother Two, thank you for joining us as well. Man, it's been really inspirational. Yeah. You got something to say too?
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see Tama Fanene on in the ring. Can't wait to see some more that Samoan magic take place. Yeah. Good luck with it, bro.
Thank you.
So I think one last thing we gotta mention real quick. You gotta plug the show. Yeah.
Say again.
You gotta plug the show. Like what? How can we watch it? Because it's gonna be on the internet, right?
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
Where's my mind at?
No problem.
So the show I'm wrestling at is gonna be streaming on WrestlePro on the WrestlePro Alaska page for free. Mm-hmm. There is on the WrestlePro Alaska Facebook page. It's at facebook.com/WrestleProAlaska, and they also have they're not asking you to pay. They're not asking people to pay for the live streaming, but they do have a place where people can donate if they want to at the WrestleProAlaska.com page, and they'll be streaming every show next month for free on the WrestlePro Alaska. There's a schedule on the WrestlePro Alaska Facebook page.
There's a schedule there. Did you know? Is there a date and time, or is it all on the page?
Yeah, it's all on the page because there's gonna be a Fairbanks show. There's gonna be a Fairbanks show, 2 Soldotna shows, and 2 Palmer shows.
Do you know the date though?
From the 2nd to the 10th.
Oh, okay. So it's gonna be a few shows then.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, we got the whole schedule and lineup up at, what was that? Facebook.com/WrestlePro
Alaska.
WrestlePro Alaska. So if you guys want to see Tama Fanene in action, you'll be able to head over to that Facebook site and be able to see it. And if you guys got some donation, some norm family of Akwai, if you're so family my usual there. Yeah, once again, Untitled Chapter, Binaka to our Weka over there, Tundra from Fiji, and we're going to sign off here today. It's been really great. Any last words before we cut out?
I just want to say thank you. It was nice to meet you.
All right, guys. Peace out. And we are